Need for whistleblower protection.
But there to serve the people.
Manam Islanders still in need of help. Central Province Lands Board sworn in.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Tuesday's news. Statistics from Transparency International Papua New Guinea's Complaints Desk reveal the need to protect vulnerable members of society when reporting corrupt activities. These statistics were collected by the Advocacy and Legal Advice Centre between 2016 and 2018. ALAC is a public service offered by TIPNG for victims and witnesses of corruption to seek free and confidential legal advice.
In a media briefing by Transparency International PNG, statistics collected by ALAC in regards to corruption complaints over the last 2 years show that women, youths, the illiterate and rural populations have not been able to report corruption. Over 80% of complaints were men, with over 60% being aged between 40 to 45 years old.
People that are able to complain, I want to say a privileged segment of the community, and we know that corruption affects a lot more people, and the less privileged are affected much more worse than the people that might be a bit more immune to the effects of corruption.
In the presentation, it showed that lack of transparency and conflicts were the two most common corrupt practices reported by clients. The sectors that received the most complaints were public administration and land and property.
So those two are the big leaders. I should point out that for the land and property issues, we've been working a lot with the Lands Department.
Although TIPNG has an office in Port Moresby, they have attempted to reach the rural communities by doing outreach activities and also promoting a toll-free hotline that anyone from across the country can call to seek assistance. Chairman Lawrence calls on state agencies to have an anti-corruption policy to empower vulnerable citizens.
The reality is, the public service is there to serve the people, guided by the politicians, guided by the Constitution, guided by the laws, but there to serve the people.
Lilian Sopera-Kinea, National EMTV News.
Post PNG officially launched a set of postage stamps commemorating the 40th anniversary of the European Union and Papua New Guinea's partnership. These postage stamps were produced by Post PNG with counter-funding from the European Union. Apart from its purpose of sending letters, the stamp set will serve as an avenue to promote important messages about the European Union and Papua New Guinea's partnership since the year 1977.
The set of stamps commemorates the 40th anniversary of the European Union and Papua New Guinea's partnership under the team working together. These stamps reflect some of the contributions of the European Union to the development of Papua New Guinea in the past 40 years. Some of the projects include rural water supply and sanitation program, sustainable fisheries, and the national wash policy.
So each stamp says a story focusing on those who benefit of different sectors: government, human rights, civil society, trade, water supply, development. But it's not only that.
The stamps officially launched today will be distributed and sold in all centers of Post PNG within the country and also in its 8 international agents. Post PNG continues to produce and distribute stamps in PNG and abroad despite the challenges brought by modern technology.
Despite the obvious, we refuse to see adversity as an obstacle but a challenge for us in the digital world. This, in fact, broadens our horizon in terms of creativity and innovation.
The event today also saw the cancellation of postage stamps and the posting of official letter using the new postage stamps. Michelle Awamoromoro, National EMTV News.
Department of Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan has urged short-term employees, contractors, members of the Joint Security Task Force and service providers to return all APAC assets. In a notice released today, Dr. Nangan said it is illegal for individuals to possess resources used during the APAC summit. These include vehicles, buses, laptops, mobile phones and other devices acquired by the state for that purpose. Secretary Nangan urged everyone to return all APAC assets before the state takes action against those responsible. He has also advised donor partners to submit lists of donations before the Department of Finance and APAC Authority carry out an asset disposal exercise. You're watching National MTV News this Tuesday. We go for a quick break and be back with more of the day's stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Roads into and in the township of Bulolo will be sealed in the coming months. A cheque of 4.7 million kina was presented to Bulolo MP Sam Basil by the PNG Forest Authority this week. Forest Minister Douglas Tumoriesa says this is a first-of-its-kind assistance under PNGFA's social responsibility.
Minister Douglas Tumoriesa presented the cheque to Bulolo MP Sam Basil for the upgrade and sealing of roads in Bulolo. According to the minister, this is a first-of-its-kind initiative by the PNG Forest Authority to assist districts that support the economy through forest products. He says roads in Bulolo will be improved to standard.
It is a corporate social responsibility for us here at Forest to make certain that we involve some of the funds that we have for infrastructure development.
The funding will be paid to private road contractor Kaya Works. The 4.75 million will also see incomplete road works along the stretch of the Bulolo Road. Bulolo Township will see a facelift with its roads.
And we put back something for the people to see, for the landowners to see, the community to see that the operation in there is not only operating and making money for the corporate sector and for the government, but it is also looking at the everyday needs of our people.
Bulolo MP Sam Basil says for over 20 years, roads in Bulolo were neglected. He says Bulolo has contributed significantly to Morobe's economy and the national purse.
So once we finish bitumen in Bulolo town, we will shift the bitumen project up to WOW, so that in the next 4 years, we want to see both WOW and Bulolo town to be completely sealed.
Kaya Works has commenced mobilization of equipment and work is set to begin next month. Jack Lepave Jr., National MTV News.
A multi-skilled labor hire company contracted to the Octady mine recently celebrated 2 million hours of operations without injury. TKI's focus on safety stepped up after an incident in 2013 when it was asked to shut down for 17 days by the MRA. 5 years on, TKI celebrated this safety milestone, 2 million hours without lost time injuries over a 5-year period.
The 2 million hours lost time injury-free feat was achieved by TKI staff who worked across 250 different areas. Broken down, these translated to 50,000 hours per month and ultimately 650,000 hours LTI-free this year alone. This annual achievement was maintained over the last 5 years despite working in high-risk areas. During this period, several challenges including demolishing the mine workshop and offices within 130 days without opening a first aid kit. General Manager Peter Bridgejohn says safety of TKI employees has always been at the forefront of its operations.
What's important for us is that safety is not being driven by the management and a top-down approach. The company has been in operation for over 30 years, and this is the first time we've achieved 5 years accident-free.
But it has not always been without incident. In 2013, TKI had 2 accidents and was asked to shut down for 17 days by the mining regulator MRA. Since then, TKI was able to learn these incidents and took corrective steps by improving workplace health and safety measures. After 5 years, TKI has achieved 2 million hours lost time injury-free.
A lot of the environments that we work in are of high risk, so welfare and the well-being of employees and our workers are very critical in our operations. We also have the obligation, duty of care to look after our employees and create a safe working environment for them to at least come home at the end of the day safely.
TKI employs Papua New Guineans across operations in engineering, hospitality, security, construction, electrical, labor and machinery hire. All these employees focused on safety. Representatives from OTML and MRA were present to witness TKI's achievement and reminded those present to continue their focus on health and safety. TKI is looking to continue their top safety performance and is aiming to achieve a smaller LTI-free fit over the next 5 years. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
The recent eruption on Manam Island has left many more homeless with no food and clean drinking water. According to the clan leader of one of the villages badly affected, Barnabas Manabung, they are still waiting on government officials, including the disaster office, to assist them. The locals described the latest eruption as the most destructive, far worse than the eruption on August the 25th. Manabung said food gardens, homes and drinking wells are all covered in ashes and mudstones from the eruption. 2 villages on the island, Kolang and Bokure, were completely destroyed. It has been 2 days and the people are in desperate need of clean drinking water and food. And the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory has indicated that more eruptions are expected to happen on Manam Island following Saturday's eruption. Senior volcanologist Ima Itikarai says their predictions are based on the eruption pattern of the Manam volcano over the years. 4 months ago, a similar eruption happened on the island, which displaced the people and left many without food and drinking water. Edwin Fidelis files this story from Kokopo.
The recent eruption on Manam Island last Saturday may have subsided, but that doesn't mean it has stopped completely. Senior volcanologist at the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory, Ima Itikarai, says more eruptions are expected.
It looks like this kind of activity may continue, and we could expect further eruptions in the future. When they happen is a question that we cannot answer, but they will certainly happen in the future.
The predictions came following readings from monitoring devices placed on the island to measure volcanic activities to try to get a better picture of how it behaves.
This RSM alert notification came in at 12:15, but there was indications of increased seismicity that began about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it built up slowly up until probably about 11 o'clock. That it increased abruptly to indicate that there was an eruption. Was probably there was an outburst of eruption at that time.
Saturday's eruption is the second that happened this year. In August, a similar eruption lasted for at least 2 days, displaced many islanders and left them without food and clean drinking water.
Those political members of the districts where the volcanoes are, they become involved and become concerned, and so we do communicate with them as well, and this was the case for Manam as well.
Last weekend's eruption has again brought light to the plight of the Manam Islanders regarding a permanent resettlement for the people in the most affected areas on the island, and the question of what to do with them continues to linger on. While an eruption is expected to happen, the question of when exactly it will erupt remained largely unpredictable. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
The Central Province now has a lands board to deal with issues concerning land in the province. Its members were officially sworn in today. Whilst witnessing today's ceremony, Lands Minister Jasin Chechenko said it was important to have a lands board in the province to manage matters relating to land.
Under the Constitution, each province is required to have a provincial lands board. The Central Provincial Government today joined a select few provinces in establishing its first ever provincial lands board. Lands and Physical Planning Minister Jasin Chechenko said the land board would help the National Lands Department to deal with problems relating to land.
I look forward to receiving those Central Provincial Government land titles that they have, and we will also do our own research if any that they've missed out or they do not know about. And then there is, of course, the status of all the state land. throughout central provincial government, which the board will be dealing with.
Before the swearing-in ceremony, board members were taken through an orientation program facilitated by the Lands Department. They were briefed on the different process and how the land board should operate. Board Deputy Chairman John Orea said there are many issues concerning land in Central Province, and the establishment of the board is a big step forward in addressing these issues.
We are setting up a lot of boards right around the country, or the provincial board, utilize them to tackle some of the problems that ILG is doing. We cannot avoid that. We will utilize our board to look at the ILG, the land matters, especially NCD and Central Province borderline. Those are areas that I will look at.
Central Governor Robert Agarobe was there to witness the swearing-in ceremony and was happy that the board was established, saying the establishment of the Lands Board will help to see major development taking place in the Central Province.
And I believe very strongly that such a statutory institution as the Land Board will play a very important role in ensuring all land will be utilized in a more coordinated, controlled, sustainable manner for the benefit of our people of Central Province.
The establishment of the board will now see issues relating to lands in Central Province being addressed through this Provincial Lands Board. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
Lands Minister Justin Chachenko has clarified issues in relation to the registration of incorporated land groups. Speaking today at the induction and swearing-in of the new Central Provincial Lands Board members, Minister Chachenko emphasized the importance of the registration of customary land groups into ILGs. Elizabeth Guka reports.
The registration of customary land groups into incorporated land groups is an essential part of land registration in the country. According to Lands Minister Justin Chachenko, all customary landowners have to be registered under an ILG in order to be recognized by the Lands Department.
The ILG is a huge issue, but if we get it right, we will have much more easier dealings with our landowners than ever before.
The registration of customary land groups into ILGs guarantees the legal recognition and active participation of the customary landowners in collaborating with the government agencies, especially the Lands Department, in dealing with customary land issues.
So we get our ILGs registered. We don't deal with individuals from different clans. We work with the clans to register their ILGs and deal solely with those elected officials from the ILGs to survey their land and secure their land now and forever.
In connecting the issue of ILGs, the Governor for Central Province, Robert Agarobe, also emphasized the importance of land as a resource.
With Central Province, we have a lot of resources that other provinces don't have, and that is land. For provincial government, we have about 4,000 hectares of prime real estate all around Mosby. And that's where you come in. Is that, we said that good minister and secretary last time about confirming the titles that we have so that we can put a business concept around it and drive the agendas that we want to drive in the province. Like, for example, rice and coffee and cattle and all this. We can build industries on this land.
The Lands Minister also announced a land summit in April next year to discuss issues relating to customary land and legislations involved, whilst urging customary landowners as well as provincial government authorities to participate.
This summit coming up in April is very, very important because it also makes sure that we finally get it right once and for all, and we make sure that it's done to everybody's input. Quality input is very, very important.
Elizabeth Guka, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to National MTV News. The landowners of Wafi Golpu Mine project in Morobe have called on Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and Mining Minister Johnson Tuke, as well as Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu, not to sign the mining development contract. The landowners said there is no proper mining environmental plan in place for the landowner groups who will be affected by the development of the mine. The landowners said this during a media conference in Lae today, following the 15th PNG and Mining Petroleum Conference in Sydney last week.
Almost 12 landowner group associations under the Wafi Golpu Landowner Mine Association of Morobe called on Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, Mining Minister Johnson Tuke, and the Governor for Morobe Ginson Saunu not to sign the mining development contract.
Any development agreement cannot be signed. On behalf of Esera, the Chief Esera Kwako, and Yakan, we took out the court order against the state for such activity not to be entertained with Wafi project.
There is no proper mining environmental plan in place. We will be greatly affected by this development.
Thank you, Blomipla or Pabagram, Mipla Hamamas, lo Mining Minister, na Governor Blo Yimilo Morobe, only no signing mining development contract. Ask me yourself. Mipla Papagram, Mipla miss out. The
Wafi Golpu project is an underground gold and copper mine. It is located in the UN Gulf district in Morobe. It is a 16 billion kina project and will operate for more than 20 years. The developers of the project are Newcrest and Harmony.
We must all be involved in a good MOA development forum. Our consent must be had. Our environmental issues must be addressed. The resettlement program plan for our people must be properly put in place. Any benefits that we as landowners are entitled to as business contracts, we are ready to take on business. We have a company in place. We must participate meaningfully in this development.
According to the landowners, they were not included in the consultation with the government, the developers, and the Mineral Resource Authority, or MRA.
We must talk out na talk straight to some this lab social mapping and looking come up lo Wafi Golpu development project.
A similar incident occurred in July this year during the Mining Development Forum in Lae, when a landowner group was excluded from participating in the forum.
I represent the voiceless majority. These are the silent majority. These are my people.
The landowners said they will take the matter seriously if the government signs the mining development contract.
My Prime Minister, my Governor, Mining Minister, these people are not going to promote our people's way of life. If they're not going to promote quality of life, if they're not going to do anything for our people, and if they're going to poison our seas, then send them off.
Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lae.
Late this afternoon, the state signed a memorandum of understanding with the Wafi Golpu joint venture project to progress the project. Mining Minister Johnson Tuke signed the agreement on behalf of the state with project joint venture partners Harmony Gold and Newcrest. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill witnessed the signing together with Communications Minister and Bulolo MP Sam Basil. The MOU establishes the framework for the parties to progress the permitting of the Wafi Golpu project as quickly as practicable in accordance with applicable regulatory processes. It provides a framework of key terms to be included in the mining development contract and other related agreements with the state. The MOU also reaffirms the intention of the parties to complete the permitting process and achieving the grant of a special mining lease by June 30th, 2019. Getting more youth involved in farming is a way out of unemployment for them. This is according to the International Cooperation for Development Fund's project manager in Lae, Norbert Oa. With the work that the ICDF is doing with agricultural training and extension work for farmers, there is a need to get more youth involved.
Farmers raised concerns regarding the need for machinery that will help in farming local produce in Morobe province. These farmers met at the Arab Resource Center in Lae last Friday to discuss their experiences at the International Cooperation and Development Fund, or ICDF, training overview for 2018.
We will ask him all machineries
Trainees came as far as Erap and Bulolo. The ICDF program aims to develop PNG's agricultural system through training and extension programs with farming communities. One of the points discussed was the need to see youths engaging in agricultural programs to decrease unemployment rates. The project's coordinator, Norbert Orr, urged young people to go back to farming because it can earn them a living.
If there is nothing to do, if you can't continue your education because of reasons which are beyond your reach, get back to farming.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
The United Nations Human Rights Division, in partnership with the Papua New Guinea Royal Constabulary, facilitated a training course in Port Moresby for senior police officers on human rights issues and law enforcement in the country. Isaiah Tare with the details.
A year ago, the Royal PNG Constabulary collaborated with the United Nations Human Rights Division to find the best approach to address police brutality and human rights issues in Papua New Guinea. The training course held today in Port Moresby highlighted practical ways of integrating human rights into police work and will provide additional information for provincial police commanders and senior officers to understand and address human rights issues. Police Commissioner Gary Baki spoke on the importance of understanding how dealing with human rights can help restore the public's trust and confidence in the country's police service.
Every day you read papers, there's complaints about police abuse, police brutality, and I think it's important. This is a syndrome that we need to break our way and break out of it if we are to continue to gain public confidence in what we are doing. I'm only one person. These are provincial police commanders. It needs a collaborative effort from everyone within the organization to move away with this mindset that abuse is part of our culture. It's never been part of our culture.
Facilitator Johan Hallhagen said that the United Nations through this workshop would help further refine how human rights are being addressed within the police force and to help find practical solutions. The workshop also aimed to incorporate human rights training into the syllabus of police trainees at the Police Academy in Bomana.
The reason why we want to focus on the most senior police officers is because it's really human rights is much about professional policing, and it's about the most senior officers showing command and control and addressing the issues from a policy way, and then giving the support to the more junior officers where it's needed to implement the human rights aspects.
Whilst this workshop catered for only senior police officers and the PPCs, the Commissioners' Conference that would be held next week in Port Moresby will also include a session for division commanders to readdress human rights issues discussed at today's workshop. Isaiah Tare, National EMTV News.
Kundiawa Gembog MP William Onglo has condemned the burning of vehicles belonging to the electorate as well as a few privately owned vehicles last Saturday at the Gembog station in Chimbo province. The vehicles were allegedly burnt during a peace reconciliation program. Onglo says after his court victory earlier this year, he launched his 5-year development plan as well as trying to restore peace for development. Yesterday, former MP Tobias Kulang denied claims that the burning down of the vehicles were politically influenced, despite the involvement of a few of his supporters. Kulang added that his family was also attacked by armed men last Saturday in Port Moresby, damaging his properties. Community leaders in the area in the electorate have condemned the actions over the weekend. A well-known criminal in Madang has surrendered to police after being on the run for 3 years for a number of criminal activities, including armed robbery. 27-year-old Ban Janget told EMTV he is fed up of living in fear of police and wants to break away from engaging in criminal activities. Martha Lewis with this story from Madang.
27-year-old Ban Janget is wanted by police for a number of crimes, including armed robbery and escaping from lawful custody before. Janget resides in Sisiak 3 settlement in Madang. He approached a police officer last Friday, informing the officer his decision to surrender and asked to face justice. He says despite escaping from lawful custody and leaves, he still feels like a prisoner and has decided to come forward to police.
God put him low blame, low ground to him start, low ground him this policeman start. Tamita la goya do this la low, amita la brushim, amita die.
Janget is also encouraging his peers who are engaged in criminal activities and are on the run to follow his lead. He also urged his peers to move away from illegal activities and allow law to prevail in Madang.
Italo bigeta mita die taso. Quando go besante. La government resist to kill man. You this second mangi would kill you. So brother me you buy inside the house. You starve. Especially you go lo you go brother me logician. You know what I logician. This is 3. Brother very top
Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector Ben Neneo expresses gratitude towards Janget to take such action. Neneo is appealing to other criminal elements to follow Janget's example, saying it is easier for criminals to surrender to police than to live in fear of being hunted by the police all the time. Meanwhile, in an unrelated incident, 5 suspects were caught by police. The suspects were involved in an armed robbery 2 days ago. Police also confiscated a number of weapons from these suspects. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
The member for Esa Ala, David Stephen, and the authorities of UPNG Open College today signed an MOU for the establishment of a uni-center in Esa Ala district. Mr. Stevens commended the initiative, saying it is good for his people as it gives the opportunity for students who wish to continue their education. Rosemary Iambune reports.
Esa Ala remains a remote district in Milne Bay Province. This initiative will help school leavers who are not selected to any tertiary institution. The member for Esa Ala, Mr. David Stevens, says this agreement is in line with the vision of the electorate, which is to provide avenue for its people to acquire quality education.
Study science, you will do science. You want to study agriculture, you will study agriculture. You want to study Tibet, you will study Tibet. And so this is now the social science. That will now provide pathway to our schools.
Esa Ala would be the second location following Pomio district that will have a uni center for the UPNG Open College. The District Development Authority will be working closely with the UPNG Open College to fund this initiative.
And partnership with universities, in this case the UPNG, is one that I think is an immediate option. They are specialized, they are established to drive, although at the tertiary level, but they understand the business. And for us in the district, it's the logical option to partner with them.
The Uni Center will offer the same programs as the ones studied in UPNG Open Campus here in Port Moresby. The operation of the Uni Center and the enrollment will begin next year. Rosemary Iambune, National EMTV News.
You're watching Tuesday's News. We go for a break, and when we come back, we have some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Southern Region 9's tournament has long been a good avenue to scout rugby league talent. According to Tournament Director Ivan Ravu, with a vast pool of talented players to choose from, the Southern Nines provides a pathway for players to be selected for the Intercity Cup competition as well as for the SP Hunters program. Suli Suli reports.
The Southern Region 9s is open to all the Southern Region players who are playing in the Intercity competitions, including Digital Cup players. Tournament Director Ivan Ravu says players are eligible to play if they are released by their respective clubs.
But that is subject to the clubs because they are at a much higher level. They may have restrictions on their players because of the off-season preparations for the following season. But they are eligible as long as they are cleared to play for the village.
With a lot of great talent being displayed at this year's event, RAVU has invited Central Dabari Selection Committee to identify and scout potential rugby league players for their 2019 Intercity Cup campaign.
At this stage, I've invited the successful Dabari team for the Digicel Cup. I spoke to Chris Enara a couple of days ago, inviting him and his committee to come and scout for players, because I know for sure that I've got a lot of talents playing in my tournament, and so far I've spotted 2 fairly good, big, tall boys, also very fast and good thinkers. So as you can see behind me, there are a lot of young players running around. All they need is some direction, a bit of better training at a higher level, and I'm sure they can play at that level.
Among players who have risen through the ranks from past Southern Nines tournaments are some big names in the Esperanto squad, including Eden Egabi. RAVU is hoping that the Nines this year will provide a similar pathway for the players taking part.
I watched a couple of games this morning, and there are some big boys who got a lot of skills and speed. So I hope that we'll do a similar thing with what happened with Gabi Edene, who made it from the Southern Region 9s to Kumut in just 1 season, and now contracted to a club in Australia. So it's very pleasant for me and Solomon to see that the youth look forward to this tournament each year.
Suli, National EMTV Sports.
Still on the Nines, the tournament continued today in Field 1. The field saw 32 teams go head-to-head under the scorching Port Moresby heat. Godwin Eki with the details.
Today's matches were tough and competitive as each team tried to make their mark to progress into the next round. With 9 minutes on each side, Mahuri Eagles took on Trial Storm in what was a very tough contest. Eagles, using their sharp claws, took advantage of the storm as their heavy forwards pierced through the gaps to score the first try. In the second half, Eagles maintained ball possession before crossing the try line. Coming back all buffed up, the Storm moved heavily into the Eagles' territory, eventually scoring 2 tries in the remaining 2 minutes. Full-time score, Mahuri Eagles 14, Trial Storm 10. In another match, the Poribada Malagana and Magelo brothers took off to a slow start before the game got tougher. With great ball movement, brothers were too slack in their defense, allowing Poribada to score their first try. Brothers, on the other hand, regrouped after a short break, coming back in full force to attack their opponent with a try and a successful conversion. With Poribada leading in the second half with 10 points, the remaining 3 minutes saw Brothers equalize the score at full time to see the game end with a 10-all scoreline. The tournament will continue throughout the week and end on the weekend. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
We'll go for a quick break and be back with more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG Rugby Football League and Coca-Cola PNG today signed a 5-year agreement. This agreement will see Coca-Cola as naming rights sponsors of the National Schools Rugby League competition in the country.
The National Schools Rugby League competition is being played in 12 provinces in the country. The competition has different divisions, under 14, under 16 and under 18, which allows for all school children to participate. Today, PNG RFL signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Coca-Cola as naming rights sponsors of the National Schools Rugby League competition. PNG RFL Chairman Sandy Saka says the Schools Rugby League competition is important towards the development of the sport in the country. He says today's signing is significant because they are investing in the future of young boys and girls.
With Coca-Cola to support the National Schools Rugby League program actually strengthens our schools program. It is the future of the game,
because investing in the future of the game in terms of schools, standard, skills and disciplines starts at that early age.
After months of negotiations, PNG-RFL were able to follow and meet the strict requirements set by Coca-Cola. PNG-RFL CEO Reta Rao says they are preparing necessary documents and programs for the 2019 competition.
We made some big decisions as well to make sure that we meet the requirements of our partner, the naming rights partner, the Coca-Cola Company and Coca-Cola. And so in the next couple of weeks and months leading into the new year, the operation team is going to start rolling out what we need to get this event rolling out.
Coca-Cola has always targeted communities to bring about change and help men, women and children. The 5-year agreement signifies an important partnership between Coca-Cola and PNG-RFL, which is to support schools rugby in the country.
Our partnership with NSRL is testimony to the spirit in which Coca-Cola operates across the globe. Except that here, why I am extremely excited is that it gives a platform for the youth to truly excel.
Elijah Levette, National EMTV Sports.
To some sport overseas, and Chelsea has suspended 4 of its football fans as it investigates alleged racist attacks on Manchester City star Raheem Sterling. The Footballers Association is supporting Sterling amidst claims that negative media coverage of some black footballers isn't helping. Back home, and after 7 years of not taking part in the Southern Region 9s, the Alotau Razorbacks are back in the competition. Representing Milne Bay Province in the region, head coach Terence Storia said the Razorbacks are hoping to make it to the finals in this year's tournament.
With the first matches being held yesterday, the team from Milne Bay Province, Alotau Razorbacks, took on the Gaba Gaba side from Central in their first game. Razorbacks coach Terence Storia says it's been a while since the team last took part in 2011.
I think the last time we took part was in 2011. The same Southern Lines concept that they did it PRL before. So today, after our comp there finishing off well, we decided to make a team and come.
In today's match, the Alotau Razorbacks played against Papa Swans from Central side. It was a tough game for them as they struggled through in first half with few ball handling errors and poor defense, which gave the opportunity to the young guns from Papa Swans to score. Trailing at 4 points at half-time, Razorbacks' ball handling mistakes allowed the Swans to score again 2 tries in second half. Just well before full-time, the Alotau side crossed the line to score their first try. The game ended with Papa Swans walking away winners over the Alotau Razorbacks with 12 points to 4. Meanwhile, Alotau coach is hoping that the team will win its remaining games to make it to the finals and is calling on the Milne Bay community in Port Moresby to support them.
We need the support, some of the Milne Bay community around here could probably take the day off to come and support us, especially the ones that are at home doing nothing. We'd love the support. Currently we don't have the support here now.
Suli, National EMTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a quick break, and when we come back we take a look at the weather. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Cloudy weather expected in Kerma and Port Moresby. Cloudy weather with some showers expected in Alotau. Showers and thunderstorms for Pupandetta. Fine becoming cloudy for Daru. To the Momasa region, fine becoming cloudy for Lae, Medang and Wewak. Some showers expected in Wau. Cloudy with some showers for Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy weather with some thunderstorms expected in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, mostly fine in Buka. And in the Highlands region, fine becoming cloudy for Mendi and Wabeg, some cloudy weather with showers expected in Goroka and Kundiawa, some showers with early morning fog developing in Mount Hagen.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's a news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday, the 11th of December 2018. On behalf of the EMTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.